What happens when the man who was always calm, mysterious, and self-sufficient stops being nice? You might be surprised to find out. The Sigma male is the lone wolf, the one who doesn't seek validation or fit into social hierarchies. Unlike the alpha who leads or the beta who follows, the Sigma is self-sufficient, strategic, and enigmatic. He always maintains control, but what happens when he decides to stop being nice? It's not about anger or revenge, but rather a natural response to a lack of reciprocity, abuse, or exhaustion. When a Sigma reaches that limit, the change is drastic, and those who underestimated him often regret it. Today, you'll discover 8 things that happen when a Sigma stops being nice. Don't skip any part of the video. Let's begin. Number 1, he becomes cold and calculated. When a Sigma stops being nice, his attitude shifts completely. He may have been patient and tolerant before, but once he realizes that his kindness isn't valued, he simply shuts off his emotions. It's not about being cruel, it's about self-preservation. The Sigma understands that many people mistake his calmness for weakness, but when he stops being nice, he thinks before he acts and calculates every step with precision. He no longer reacts emotionally or impulsively. Instead, he analyzes every situation with a cold, strategic mindset, ensuring that no one manipulates him. If someone betrays him, he won't make a scene or seek revenge. Instead, he will quietly walk away and ensure that person never has access to him again. It's not about holding grudges, it's about emotional intelligence. People who are used to his easygoing nature are often shocked when they see this side of him. What was once kindness now turns into strategic distance. When a Sigma stops being nice, he no longer gives his energy to just anyone. He only invests his time and attention in those who truly value him. And for many, that can be unsettling. Number 2, he disappears without explanation. One of the first things a Sigma does when he stops being nice is vanish without warning. Not because he wants to play games, but because he understands that his time and energy are valuable, and he refuses to waste them where there is no respect or reciprocity. If he feels used, betrayed, or unappreciated, there will be no arguments, no justifications. He will simply walk away. To him, there's no point in wasting words trying to make someone understand his worth. Unlike others who seek to resolve things through confrontation, the Sigma chooses silence as his most powerful response. When he walks away, it's not out of spite. It's because he has already decided he no longer belongs in that space. Those around him often feel confused, wondering what happened, why he's not responding to messages, or why he suddenly became distant. But the truth is simple. A Sigma doesn't ask for permission to leave. When a Sigma stops being nice and disappears, there's no going back. If someone wonders why he left, the most likely answer is because he simply doesn't care to be there anymore. Number 3, he stops investing energy in others. When a Sigma stops being nice, something changes instantly. He no longer invests his energy in others. He may have been understanding before, willing to help without expecting anything in return, always present when someone needed him. But the moment he realizes his kindness is taken for granted, he simply withdraws. It's not that he becomes selfish. He learns to set boundaries. If he was always there for others but no one was there for him, he stops making the effort to maintain relationships that drain him. He no longer picks up the phone at all hours, no longer worries about pleasing everyone, and stops explaining himself unnecessarily. The people who were used to receiving his support without effort suddenly notice his absence. They realize he's no longer available to solve their problems or listen to endless complaints. The Sigma shifts his energy inward, on himself, his goals, and the things that truly add value to his life. He doesn't seek revenge or try to make anyone feel bad. He simply gets tired of giving without receiving. And when that happens, the people who once ignored him start missing him. Number 4. His silence becomes his greatest weapon. When a Sigma stops being nice, he no longer wastes words on unnecessary arguments. He used to explain his point of view, try to make others understand, or even give second chances. But when he realizes that talking doesn't change anything, his best response is silence. The Sigma knows that in a world where everyone is trying to be heard, being quiet is an advantage. He doesn't need to prove anything, justify his decisions, or engage in conflicts. He simply walks away and lets his actions speak for him. His silence unsettles those who expected a reaction. People who once took advantage of his patience now feel his absence like a void. They want to know what he's thinking, why he doesn't respond the same way anymore, why he isn't trying to fix things. But the Sigma doesn't offer explanations, he just moves forward. This shift makes him even more mysterious and harder to figure out. And the most interesting part, the quieter he becomes, the stronger he feels. Because a Sigma doesn't need to raise his voice or demand attention to be noticed. His silence says it all. Number 5, he becomes more strategic in his relationships. When a Sigma stops being nice, he stops trusting just anyone. He used to give people chances without thinking too much about it, believing in good intentions and acting generously. But after realizing that many people only take advantage of kindness, he becomes more strategic in his relationships. Now he observes before he acts. He analyzes people, studies their intentions, and surrounds himself only with those who truly matter. If someone proves to be trustworthy, they'll stay in his circle. But if he detects signs of dishonesty, he won't hesitate to cut them off. The Sigma is no longer fooled by pretty words or empty promises. He values actions over words. If he notices that someone is only around when it benefits them, he immediately removes them from his life. No drama, no arguments, just a clear decision, not wasting time on those who don't deserve it. This new way of acting confuses those who once benefited from his kindness. They try to win him back, but the Sigma is no longer easy to manipulate. Now, his circle is small but strong and genuine. And that makes him even more powerful, because a Sigma values quality over quantity. Number 6, he focuses 100% on himself. When a Sigma stops being nice, something in his mindset completely shifts. He stops worrying about what others want and starts focusing solely on himself. He used to try to help, support, or even change to fit into certain circles. But once he realizes that this only drains him, he decides to put himself first. He no longer seeks anyone's approval. He doesn't care about meeting other people's expectations or making sacrifices for those who wouldn't do the same for him. Now, his time, energy, and efforts are dedicated to his own goals. This means he stops saying yes to commitments that don't serve him, to conversations that don't enrich him, and to people who only distract him from his path. Instead of wasting time on empty relationships or other people's problems, he focuses on his personal and professional growth. The people who once had easy access to him start to notice. They wonder why he's no longer as available as before. But the answer is simple. The Sigma has learned to put himself first, and when he does, nothing and no one can stop him. Number 7. His presence becomes more powerful. When a Sigma stops being nice, his energy shifts completely. He used to blend in, be accessible, and remain calm with everyone. But when he stops trying to please others and starts acting only for himself, his presence becomes stronger and more magnetic. This doesn't mean he becomes arrogant or aggressive. He simply radiates a confidence that commands respect. His body language changes, his gaze becomes firmer, and his words become more direct. People start to notice that he's no longer someone they can play with or manipulate. The Sigma no longer seeks approval or tries to fit in, and paradoxically, this makes people even more intrigued by him. Those who once ignored him now feel curious. Those who underestimated him now see him differently. It's his lack of need for validation that makes him more powerful. He doesn't ask for attention, yet he gets it. He doesn't demand respect, yet he earns it. Because when a Sigma stops being nice, his presence speaks for itself. And that's something no one can ignore. Number 8, he becomes an unreachable figure. When a Sigma stops being nice, his attitude changes so much that many people start to miss him. He used to be present, available, and always willing to help. But when he realizes that his time and energy weren't appreciated, he walks away without looking back. People who once took him for granted suddenly realize what they've lost. They try to reach out, reconnect, or even regain his trust, but it's too late. The Sigma doesn't fall for nostalgia or empty promises. Once he closes a door, he doesn't reopen it. This makes him an unreachable figure. Not because he wants to prove anything, but because he understands his own worth. He knows that not just anyone deserves access to his world. Those who once overlooked him now see him with admiration and respect. But he no longer seeks recognition or validation. He simply lives life on his own terms. When a Sigma stops being nice, he doesn't become cruel, he becomes untouchable. And that is the greatest transformation he can make. A Sigma doesn't stop being nice because he's bitter or wants to hurt others. He does it because he learns to prioritize himself, set boundaries, and protect his energy from those who don't appreciate it. He doesn't become cold or insensitive. He simply chooses more carefully where and with whom he invests his time. Many people mistake kindness for weakness, but the Sigma understands that being good doesn't mean allowing himself to be used. When he stops being nice, he doesn't seek revenge or conflict. He simply moves forward without looking back. This transformation makes him stronger, more strategic, and harder to reach. Because when a Sigma stops being nice, he doesn't become cruel. He becomes the best version of himself. And in that process, those who didn't value him end up missing him. If you enjoyed this video, support us with a like and subscribe to our channel for more content on the Sigma mindset. Your support helps us keep creating. Now here's a recommended video to help you understand even more how a Sigma thinks and acts. Don't miss it.